especially in North America. But watch this review and know that my battery tests, by the way, my battery tests, they're all based on what I do every day. You might do less than me, you might do more than me, but at least it gives you something to gauge off. The Z Fold 8 has sparked this rage in some people online. Apparently, I've never used an Android phone before, which is hilarious to me because I'm a S26 Ultra user. Some people forget they are watching a channel of a dude that reviews tech for a living. Hence, part of the reason I was on an iPhone. And even though I make mistakes like an idiot, I'm not perfect. But what you will get out of me is always genuinely my experience, because my goal is to always give you context, which is why I like telling stories about what devices I'm using, I'm coming from, and why. So you guys know what sort of headspace I'm in, because guess what? With that info, some of you guys will be able to relate. So if you're enjoying the direction we're taking this channel, please consider subscribing because, well, we are investing a lot into it. Now, after all this fuzz, I've been wondering, should we document phones before they release, or should we wait for them to release and then document them? Not review them, but document them. You see, here's the thing, okay? Even though I made this claim that YouTube Android does not have in-feed playback, the actual Android app within YouTube does not allow you to enable this feature anymore, because at the moment, it actually just doesn't exist at all in foldables. Last week, I noticed the Z Fold 8 acting a little weird in certain apps, which I assumed is because developers are still optimizing for this new form factor. And I know it's a foldable thing because within the S26 Ultra, under General, you'll find playback in feeds. I was even able to confirm that with some of you guys who own foldables. But anyways, look, I've been using this phone every single day, and a week ago, I decided to go ahead and update it with what seems to be the update that will be released to the public when the phone comes out. And that update, well, it improves stability and reliability. So this is me again, documenting this phone, which by the way has delivered quite the different experience the past few days, where finally I'm actually happy to say that this feels more or less like my Z Fold 7, a phone I reviewed last year and I was like over the moon with it. And this time around, with this update, apps, well, they finally seem a bit more stable. In fact, I haven't noticed Instagram making many changes to its main production app. You know what? Let me show you how the latest update has made me question whether or not we should be even documenting these phones before they release. And it's funny because for me, it actually starts at battery life. I finally have like a proper clear picture here. Last time, I believe I claimed about 15 to 18 hours of juice, but this time I'm getting about 12 to 15. And right now you're probably wondering, okay, but Andres, that's worse. Full context, I find myself using my phone much more, especially the inner display. And it's not even for social media, which is the funny part. It's actually more for work and some slight research. Actually, you guys remember how in my last video I said I was like not happy with the phone, therefore I was like spending less time on it. Remember that? Well, this time, because of the update, I feel like I can be a lot more on it, doing actual work. So here's the gist of it. The Z Fold 8 is what I like to call a 9 to 5 phone. And what I mean about that is that it lasts more or less those hours. I mean, think about it. By the time you wake up at like 6:30 a.m., start using your phone, and you commute back and forward just to get home at like 7:30 p.m., maybe 7 p.m., well, you'll find yourself with maybe 10%, 15% of juice. Between Android Auto, YouTube, messages, Waze, emails, ChatGPT, using it at medium to high brightness, whatever, you name it. I've personally been averaging a good almost 6 hours of on-screen time and 14 hours of screen off time. These numbers translated well into getting days of around 12 hours. So from like 9:30 a.m. to about 9:30 p.m., I can go from 100% to 5%. And note, okay, that Android Auto is actually something that eats battery life a lot, and it's my biggest consumer, mainly because I've been driving a lot trying to finish the studio, which includes like this crazy home lab I'm actually building. But anyways, what I'm getting at here is that, yes, of course I could easily plug in my phone while I'm in the car. Yes, that's what I usually do, Sherlock. And of course you will get more out of your phone throughout the day, but my goal here is to show you a worst case scenario in a way. However, on days when I'm not driving as much, I can usually get around 15 hours of battery life, if not a little more. These are the days that you can most likely expect out of your phone, really. Now, I do play Pokemon from time to time. I think this is very interesting. And here's what I've noticed with my emulator and the mods I'm pushing. Pokemon tends to eat about 24% of battery per hour, which is not bad actually. And the really cool part is that at 45 watts, well, this thing charges hella fast. It's actually perfect. It takes 20 minutes to go from 0 to 50% and about 45 minutes to reach 75%. Battery dissipation at night though, not the best. I've been actually losing like 10% overnight consistently actually. So yeah, a good night battery dissipation would be anywhere from like 3 to 4%. Anyways, the latest One UI update for the Z Fold 8 has been very refreshing for my phone experience. It hasn't been perfect, but it's been really good. And that means that what I'm trying to get at here is that, well, not all the bugs have disappeared, but the majority of them have, really. In fact, I find that my foldable experience on the Z Fold 8 is starting to remind me a lot of the Z Fold 7 experience I lived, in the way that I now want to spend a lot more time within the main screen because apps, well, they don't crash or bug as much. Now, like I said, is it the perfect experience? No, it's not. In fact, when I'm writing an email in split screen and want to drag a photo from the gallery into my email, it just doesn't work. And this is actually a feature that of course works really well on the S26 Ultra because it's what I used to do when I was dealing with contractors and whatnot. Will it be corrected? Of course it will be corrected, of course. But I guess this is what you can expect going into your Z Fold 8 purchase if they don't release another update. And what I also really like is how Gemini helps with emails. I think it makes it easy to ask the right questions and double check that I'm not missing anything, which I'll show you in a bit as I am building this server rack that's coming together nicely. But I wanted to use Cursor to help me refactor the setup side of it too. You see, there's this newly added feature called Cloud Agents. This is what allows me to work from anywhere, from literally any device without having to be glued to it to get some tasks done. I've already connected the GitHub repo for my home lab, which is basically where all the code for this project lives. Normally with AI coding tools, you ask it to write a function or fix a bug, then you copy the code over and repeat. Here, I can do it a little differently. Check this out, okay? Because Cursor basically creates its own workspace in the cloud, pulls in my project, gets everything set up, and just starts building. I can even tell it exactly how to set up everything by installing scripts, start scripts, environment variables, and any secrets the project needs. So instead of giving it tiny coding tasks, I can give it something much bigger, like, based on this, build me a mobile dashboard for my server that's optimized for the Galaxy Z Fold 8. Show me CPU usage, RAM, storage, Docker containers, and make it look clean. That's an example. And then once you hit enter, it just starts working on it. It'll edit files, run the project, check for errors, fix things that break, and keep going without me having to sit here approving every single step. And because it's all happening in the cloud, I can literally close my phone, keep organizing the rack, and the agent just keeps working in the background. Eventually you can come back, review all the changes it made, test everything, and merge it straight into my GitHub repo. It's honestly been a really cool way to build this project. Instead of getting stuck on the software side, I can just hand it over to Cursor and keep working on the hardware side. The phone also, well, it gets quite hot when you're multitasking with the inner display. This is something I've noticed a lot because I now spend a lot more time with it. You know what I've realized? That the one time that it doesn't get hot while I'm multitasking is when all my apps are closed and this is like literally the only thing I've got going on. Yeah, so it really doesn't get hot at all in this state. Keep that in mind, I guess. However, man, I love this main screen because when I was buying my server rack, I could literally open up my Ring app and experience my surveillance footage in full screen while I was away from home. These are the kind of things that really make me enjoy this form factor without overhyping it. And I'll tell you why in a bit, because it's been overhyped. But yeah, as much as I love this form factor, I do love a good foldable, and this is a good foldable. I just love, being able to use tent mode wherever I am and enjoy watching content. So flex mode, even though it's not a thing anymore, it's not something I'm missing as much as I thought I would, because think about it. I mean, tent mode just works so well on this phone. And then like, if you wanted to do the flex mode thing, I think it's well thought out. Also, you will probably find this stupid because it doesn't make sense, but here's this bug with Android Auto that freezes your YouTube playback when listening to a video. I mind because sometimes I glance at podcasts if there is something descriptive on screen. So like me, maybe you care about this. This happens from time to time, so I thought I would mention it, I guess. But with that even, I'm really happy to say that I feel like I'm back to my regular One UI use, or workflow I should say. With voice notes on the Messages app always freaking bugging. And no matter which Android phone I use, this has been happening to me for the past 2 years. I feel like Google, you guys need to fix your freaking app. It's been a while now that this keeps happening, where the voice notes, they will autoplay by themselves. If you try to stop them or pause them, they just don't pause. And then other voice notes from the same convo, they start playing. So now you have 2-3 voice notes kind of playing at the same time. It's crazy. But yeah, anyways, for the little time I haven't been on iPhone, I feel like I'm back home with the Z Fold 8 as of now. Not last week. Last week was honestly I wasn't enjoying my experience. This week is different, and I just love One UI. Really, One UI to me is the perfect OS for a phone. Adding a dedicated Google Drive folder onto my home screen is one of the things I love. It's stupid, sure, but I use my phone a lot to scan receipts. I also use my phone a lot in that manner to show ChatGPT what I'm looking at. And quick note, regardless of which Android phone you use when doing this, you'll still notice that some third-party apps don't take full advantage of the camera hardware, if not most of them, to be honest. So image quality can end up looking noticeably worse than in the stock camera app. I mean, WhatsApp and ChatGPT are great examples of that. So if this is your first Android device, just be aware of that. I recommend to use the stock camera app. It's much better. And like I said, if you're new to Android, I think you're going to love the Gemini integration. Apple doesn't currently offer the same system-wide integration in terms of AI that Android with Gemini offer, which I think it's pretty cool. I mean, you can summarize what's on your screen. You've got Gemini integration across Google Apps, or even features like circle to search are so freaking good. I am genuinely liking Gemini a lot more. I mean, as a server rack newbie, I used it a lot throughout my entire building process. One of the questions I had, for example, I was able to ask Gemini if I could repaint this entire server rack, and just by showing it and having a smooth conversation with it, we were able to go back and forth with it. Do you also think I can get more server racks like those?
Searching for those racks now. Yes, you can easily get more racks like the one you have there. They're made by SysRacks, and you can find them directly on their official website.
I am able to easily use Gemini in this manner to help me with emails, so I can ask the right questions. I really like it. I added it to my home screen, actually, with the help of Home Up. I really recommend you try Home Up from good luck if you want to fully customize your screen. Must say, the past few days I've been trying to recreate a few bugs that were happening to me. I'm happy to say that many of them haven't been like appearing on the phone. The good thing is that while I was trying to do that, I found out why Home Up makes my apps disappear when I go from an app to the home screen. Turns out that if you put apps too close to each other, that's what happens. Now, I'm not sure why it happens with some apps and it doesn't happen with others. I'm not 100% sure, but at least I found out why that happens. If you guys want to call that a bug or not, I mean, I'm not sure what I would call it. Anyways, my doubt got me a bit more into Gemini as he teaches mechanical engineering. He made me feel like a boomer for the first time, and I'm the techie, but he really likes using this app to teach HVAC systems. I'm genuinely thinking of importing my memory from ChatGPT into Gemini and use it as well. Also, just to show you how useful multitasking can be in moments like these, while I was looking at how to import this, I just love the fact that I can have a call, a split screen, and easily go back and forth between apps to get files tossed around. This made me realize how this entire week has made me love this phone so much more. I don't know if you guys can tell, but my ChatGPT widget is now bugging, so I guess that's a little bug. It just keeps loading and it never appears. Anyways, to drive my point a bit more home, I guess, if that's the say, even the UI in Instagram, it actually feels so much more optimized now, to the point that the lag is honestly just non-existent anymore. It's so easy for me to finally just grab a file I downloaded from my new server and try to upload it to Instagram within a few minutes or so. Writing captions is also not buggy, but uploading to IG is so damn slow. It's not the phone's fault, it's IG in general. Even on iPhone, I mean, it's terrible. Because TikTok, for example, it uploads freaking quick. The only thing I'm still trying to get used to is the aspect ratio of short form content. I'm just not that big of a fan, really. My doom scrolling has definitely diminished because of it. It's why I spend less time on these type of social media apps. I mainly do more YouTube, Reddit, lots of Reddit, and lots of X. It's absolutely magnificent for that, I will say that. Wall Street Bets on this is so freaking good. So here's where I feel like I want to take some accountability, because I feel like I've been overhyping this screen because of the new form factor. Now, do not get me wrong, okay? I love this passport shaped phone. I love typing on it a lot more. I feel like the extra width it delivers compared to something like the S26 Ultra helps you type better, if it makes sense. The corners don't dig into your hands. It makes it easy to reach the entire screen without moving too much. I love this form factor, but when you open it, you see it's not that much more different from the Z Fold 8 Ultra or the Z Fold 7. Look, although it's been labeled as the content consumption phone, it's not as wow as we've been making it seem, and I apologize for that, really. First, I would like to confirm that this crease really has been getting better over the years. Yes, the crease at proper angles is almost like it doesn't exist, even at improper angles, if that's a thing. Second, whether it's TikTok or Instagram, you're going to have to get used to this format, except for when people upload full screen content, which is where you think, damn, this is why I want this phone. But this reasoning shouldn't be at all the ultimate factor that decides your purchase. Let me show you, okay? Consuming short form content on this is definitely not perfect. It's not like the Z Fold 7 where you have the longer slab and you at least have the outer display to fill in those bars, right? I think the main thing to focus on is how the aspect ratio sits within the main screen compared to everything else out there. Like, for example, if I was to compare this to my S26 Ultra, you would definitely get a much bigger screen, right? But then, if I was to compare this to my Z Fold 7, well, the image being displayed on the screen is practically the same thing. So really the only advantage here you're gaining is much smaller black bars and the camera punch hole not being shown on the screen, and like that's about it. Everything else really is like the same. Oh yo, because this is kind of a new resolution form factor on the front cover, just know that sometimes if you're not too familiar with the current UI you're navigating, you might be missing some elements that you might need for certain things. For example, on Instagram, when I was trying to find the add cover to a reel, I couldn't find it, and the UI doesn't really let you know that you can scroll down to find that element. So I just watch out for that. Durability wise, the big question right here for me is, do we put a case on this or do we just let it be? Because really the biggest selling factor this phone has to offer is the new shape, right? Wanting to enjoy this design without a case is definitely a valid concern. But I'm happy to say that I've found myself experiencing barely any scratches around this frame. In fact, no scratches around this frame. Gorilla Glass Victus 2, although not as strong as Gorilla Glass Armor 2, still feels pretty darn solid, to be honest. I will admit visibly the lavender color probably hides many scratches, but at least the Armor aluminum frame all around the phone has been intact. I almost want to recommend staying away from graphite. It'll probably just end up looking like this after a while, especially if you throw your phone in a bag with keys and so on. I also strongly recommend using a screen protector because really, Corning Gorilla Glass Ceramic 3 scratches quite easily. It does. Honestly, it's a peace of mind, really. I recommend that. For the outer screen, okay? Just get one. It's like I said, it's a peace of mind. The inner screen, I honestly think you're fine without one. Honestly, engineering wise, it's actually really impressive what they've built here. I think that the thing that I can't wait for is for these phones to have IP68 and not just IP48. I understand though that a foldable phone has moving parts, tiny gaps, and a flexible display, so making that like super dust tight compared to regular slap phones like the S26 Ultra, I know it's challenging. Regardless, guys, the phone looks really freaking good. It's so freaking robust. It doesn't feel flimsy. It doesn't feel like a little gimmick. Like, I absolutely love opening this screen. Like, I don't feel afraid of bending it or anything like that. It's a freaking solid phone. It really, really is. I'm happy with it. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. But I'm happy with where it's at right now. Cool. There are also some small things I want to just like brush on. Fingerprint smudges on the inside screen is a big thing. Big thing, honestly. Especially if you are an oily person like me, it gets annoying. Another little quirk that might seem hard to re-engineer is just the volume placement when in tent mode. It's super awkward because it like sits in the back of the phone, so it's hard to like manipulate the volume button. But anyways, eSIMs, although this phone delivers it, okay, I'm freaking aware of that, I like using physical SIMs. Carriers in Canada, well, guess what, boys and girls, they live in prehistoric times. So sometimes like transferring an eSIM from one phone to another can take forever, or it'll fail and then you have to drive your to the carrier and wait probably 30 to 1 hour, because that's usually what happens to me. 30 minutes to 1 hour is the amount of time I have to wait to talk to a rep. But yeah, we Canadians know this is a problem, okay? It's annoying. I don't know, I just like being able to pop the SIM card out and in 2 seconds pop it in another phone. I like physical things. Networking, my god, is this so much better than iPhone. I just couldn't stand iPhone when it came to signal. I don't know, I just have this bad experience with iPhones and networking. Ever since I switched to the S23 Ultra as my true daily, I've honestly had zero complaints about my signal. I just think Samsung is much better at that. So the Z Fold 8 delivers in that aspect. So yeah, as for the cameras, I still don't want to dive too deep into them because I've mostly been using these to get the job done rather than actually going out there and shooting for fun. What I'm actually planning on doing is waiting for the iPhone Fold to release and then grab that phone and grab this phone and do like a camera challenge, a dedicated camera video, because I feel like that would be super interesting. At least for the next few weeks, for the next few months, this is going to be my daily phone. So when the iPhone comes out, if it does come out in September, I'm gonna put them head to head and we'll do proper comparisons, because honestly, this is a very, 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 very interesting phone, and I think it's something new for us techies to enjoy.